Alright, YouTube, welcome back to DNAgenes. So in this video, we're gonna get into C haplogroup, dealing with the white DNA haplogroups of male genes. So what we are looking at is dealing with a group of people that have Shemitic stock. So real quick, let's get into some of this information. So maybe we'll look at a map real quick. So I have a lot of tabs open. So for people that don't know who these people are, these are dealing with dark complexion people. So in general, group A to F with the haplogroups of white DNA are dealing with dark complexion people. Due to other people influences on various regions, due to slave trade, due to migration, relocating, a lot of these people are dealing with, different issues with becoming a part of various cultures, meaning they are, becoming mixed into various groups of people and so on, with marriages and other offsprings being, different traits and features and so on, which is common to uncommon in certain pockets of groups of people around the world. So the C group is dealing with the first Shemitic stock of people, and this would be dealing with the understanding of what race is. So when I talk about race, when it comes to DNA information, it's just dealing with progenitors coming from Noah. And so Noah, the father of three sons that made it through the flood, and the three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So these people became progenitors of all the people that are on the planet today. So you have people that are basically separate groups of people that was once related that are now different groups of people, and that's where race come from. So when you look at the understanding of these groupings of people, the proteins, meaning their DNA structure, are different because of the diets and the environment and all the other ills and disadvantages within environments and climates that affect those people, start to, put pressure on their genes and traits and everything else. So all these people eventually became different, separate people. So today we are talking about Shemitic groupings of people that would be associated as Moabites. So Moabites are dealing with the offsprings of Noah. I mean, not Noah, but the offspring of Lot and his daughter. So Lot family was in Sodom and Gomorrah, and they witnessed the destruction, or more better to the term, or to the story, they lived through it, and they heard the destruction, because they wasn't able to look back on what was going on. So they took shelter, and after a while, uh, his Lot daughters, took advantage of him, and they had children from him, and the children became Moab and Ben Ami, better known as Ammon. So these are dealing with, people that was originally from this territory. So as you can see, in the layout of Greater Israel, or in the layout of Canaan, whatever people want to call it, you have territory belonging to the Philistia, which was a Hamitic group. Amalek, dealing with a interesting grouping of hybrid Edomite people, or tares. Then you have Edom, dealing with, the stock of Edomites. And then you have Moabites. And then off to the side of Reuben and Gad, you have Ammonites. And then you have Manasseh. And then you have Armenians, and so on. So these are the people that originally was in this region. And like all these people, due to empire changes, civilization changes, wars, famine, and everything, these people relocated. So we go to the map. If I could find the map all over again, let me do this real quick. What is that? So this is the CYDA layout in Asia. So this is a group that, as you can see, it was once in this territory near Israel and Saudi Arabia, Jordan and Syria, and then they relocated or moved and migrated from that region into this region. So you have this C marker right here, C3. Now, in the Wikipedia page, they talk about it being out of Africa, but that's not the case. And they do that with a lot of groups of people because of the complexion type. Even though, in the 1500s, 1600s, they had white papers and think tank documentation on different groups of people in Africa with their languages and everything else. So this is why that R1B is a thing, because a lot of these people are not from Africa. They plant them there, and then they say, oh, these are, no, this root was definitely planted there. This root was never there. just like the F group. So, if anything, they're talking about possibly like the whole understanding of the African tectonic plate being connected to this Israel fault line setting. Other than that, um, you're either going to be with the understanding that this region is a part of Africa or not. You know, you can't have it both ways. But yes, this region is technically a part of Africa because the Most High say so, and because they just cut into the the obvious land bridge that been there for years and put a canal, so they won't have to sail around the Horn of Africa, where the water at these points, when you go around a territory into this part of the oceans, a lot of this water and the tides and the waves and the current is difficult to steer through. So we're talking about all of this southern part. So you have them moving across various parts of Africa before they started to settle. Some didn't even settle, some just kept going into the Americas. So when I talk about um, Shemitic Moabite people, I just refer to Australian Aboriginal people because of the, visual. People need visuals to see who you're talking about. So these would be the original people of the Americas that was there as so-called Aboriginals. So when people talk about the Olmecs, I believe they are talking about this group of people because we have a great understanding that the Hamitic people that was venturing around the world was just doing exactly that. They wasn't, living or staying in those territories that they visited. They just did it for resources and for fun and for business practices. Other than that, those territories that are associated with those Hamitic stops was never, settled. So that's why I tend to tell a lot of these people that get into this Native American dialogue and debate, because if that was the case, you'll have more A and B whitening A in the Americas. You'll have more L0 anti-DNA stock overwhelmingly in the Americas, and you don't. So let's move on. So again, C group. So as you can see, you see C1, C3. You got C5 over here. You got C4. So this group is a populated group. You have C2. So I remember hearing people like media and um, people that are associated with the movement that I'm in talk about how certain people are, depopulated, or they are dealing with, not too many pockets of their people anymore. I'm like, at that time, I believe what they were saying, the media and uh, this so-called elder of the movement that I'm in, uh, and I was like, that could be the case. I don't know. And now that I'm dealing with the DNA information and have an understanding with this information, is like, well, first of all, in the Bible, it just tells you that there's no end to these people. Eventually, there will be an end to a group of people, but the people that are placed to be the progenitor and these people that come from these nations of people at the moment and this time, they are all still around. The men and the women from those progenitors. So there's pure stock of Australian Aboriginal people in Asia, Australia, and in the Americas. So, and this is the case with a lot of races and ethnic groups of people. They have full stock of their own people. Um, the whole thing with race mixing and interracial and having tears and all these other things, a lot of that um, wasn't a big dynamic back then, and the same thing is the case now. And I was telling my people in a video that I did on my other channel about the epiphany that I had about my people and our people. And I was like, well, the reason why we have to understand DNA information and who's who and why is because um, the Most High, and that's the reference point of God. God, as the Most High, as I uh, love to call him, is dealing with, his people in a certain way, punishment, judgment, and so on. And so when we break the law is a different thing versus when other people break laws and sin. Ultimately, everybody get judgment, everybody get punishment. But the children of Jacob, they get proper discipline and proper judgment and proper punishment quickly and or later. So I was just telling and looking at the history that we have and the curses. I was like, well, this is why we went through this problem, slavery. And I was like, that was the control method of keeping our stock pure. So a lot of people don't get it, don't understand it. They'll look at these comments and my talking points as a racist statement, when in reality, when you start to look at gene traits and diseases, and you start to figure out, okay, how come there's like race sensitive diseases? Well, a lot of it was because of certain groupings of people wanting to start to mix with other people that they knew had health problems and knew that the environmental pressures was different. So I just tell people, um, before you get into this DNA information, research and study physical traits. Like physical traits is a good reference point. Like you do that, and you start to go, okay, this is a recessive trait and feature. This is a dominant trait and feature. And when you start to see the the reverse, when you start to see um, people that you associate with dominant traits with recessive traits, and the same vice versa, then you'll be like, okay, what's going on here? Now I have to research diseases, and you start to see, okay, all these people are white people. How come this group of white people can only get this type of disease versus another group of white people? And then you start to go, okay, I'm getting confused. I thought I knew something. I thought I had an understanding. Well, then you will eventually get into DNA, and the DNA research and the information is dealing with haplogroups versus the percentages. And when you get involved with that, you start to come across different types of information. So I like to share this as often as I can, because people often get lost in the sauce and they swear certain things or a certain way, and it's not, due to education, due to peers, due to family, everybody been lied to about something and everything. So I just show them this. So again, the C group. So these are C groups. These are people that are in Wikipedia articles on the same page that I pulled up the Wikipedia. They are on this page. So remember, these are C group people right here. And so you have Genghis Khan, a C3, you know. You have Nurhaci, another C3. And then you have these other famous D group people. So C and D are closely related groupings of Shemitic people. So these people would be the Shemitic Moabites, and these would be your Shemitic Ammonite. So I had pictures. There was pictures that I needed to share, and I can't do that on this page because this is EUpedia. This is a saved download page that I often use. So without getting into my searches, because I have like a lot of, you thought seeing the search for this is crazy. The searches on all the other search engines are similar. Mine is Google. Google don't let you have open windows. But for this, I downloaded AOL, and Yahoo. I was like, let me just add some more search engines to like um, be able to flow through this video and the message. So back to this real quick. So the point is, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, your statements is so racist and so on," and I was like, or I'm gonna be like, "What is your definition of race and so on?" Because you know I'm dealing with this information via DNA, not from hatred or anything else. From I'm dealing this with this information from a informative point of view. So, real quick, I want to show y'all something. So, real quick, this group, the C group, the D group, this E group, and this E group. These are Shemitic groups of people. This E group is a E group. Both of these E groups are dealing with groupings of people from Shemitic stock of Abrahamic groupings of people. So this group is a distant, close relative to this group. So all these people are dealing with dark complexion people still. Now, as you can see, you see complexion changes and so on with this group and mostly with this group. And there's a reason. I hope I have the map up. So you have mtDNA markers as well. So you have Y-DNA markers and mtDNA markers. The X chromosome dealing with maternal women. So the women group that is dealing with the Shemitic Moabites are dealing with the D group. So you have this group in the Americas, and you have this group in various places in Asia mainland, and you don't really have that much in island regions of Australia and Papua New Guinea and Oceania. So you have this group of women that is associated with a lot of guys that are various complexion types because Japhetic men and women again have the ability to have different complexion types of skin. So you have a certain grouping of women. Every other branch that have the ability to either have mostly pale complexion and or mostly dark complexion and or a variety complexion and so on. Within the Japhetic group of people, you have this with men and women. So a lot of time when these people, the Japhetic stock of people, you know, are together and they start to um, populate, they people tend to associate those people as mixed race people and so on, when technically they are not. They are literally the same race of people, just because of different mutations and basal informities and performities, if that's a word, performities or enhancements. They have the ability to create different complexion types of children. So, but on purpose, certain groups of people uh, sought after certain groups of women. This age group in particular. So, a lot of women, or not a lot of women, but a lot of these guys with pale complexion within these dark groupings of people are dealing with those groupings of women. Not all of them are going to be H. Some of them are going to be other groups like J and what else? R, Z, U. So as you can see, let's see who else. R. So a lot of these groups of mtDNA is dealing with an interesting twist. So and that's the best way to say it, because at a certain point, you know, they start to um, end up in the proper setting. So, for example, this area, the so-called Levant region, uh, the interesting thing is you have uh, a majority of these people in this region are dealing with Japhetic stock. You have some Shemitic stock of people, but on both sides, you have an overwhelming population of Japhetic men and women in this Israel, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, uh, Iran, Jordan, Syria region. So a lot of these groupings of people are dealing with um, similar Japhetic stock. And the interesting thing is, in this region, you have the J stock overwhelmingly being a part of both sides. So you have a perfect pairing of similar people in the region. And the same thing happens with this H, when this H is dealing with any other R1s in the R2. any of the I's, and so on for the white DNA. Any of the G's, any is all these people are related. So it doesn't matter. The issue is what complexion type. And some of them, again, are dealing with pools of pale complexion or fair or ruddy and so on, dark complexion and so on. So the point that I'm trying to make is certain groupings of men, especially when they have like a so-called hierarchy of rulership, kinsmen, military officers, and other high-end servants, they seek out certain groups of women. Therefore, this is how this group of men was created. So now we are going into the understanding of those are Shemitic pale complexion men, and this would be Shemitic Edomites. So these would be the children of Esau DNA pool. This E1B group. So in the Bible, they would just be, associated with tares, but when it comes to the other people, when they are tares, it just means that they still are the same people, basically. So especially when it comes to Edom, when you're with this marker on the Y-DNA side and the other marker on the NT-DNA side, you're still within the loop of Edom. And how and why? Because Edom spoiled his seed. Therefore, a perfect certain curse is on that seed line. So now we are in the Japhetic Caucasian groups of people. So remember, these are not the white people that we are associating with Caucasian people. These are the Caucasian people. So let's go back to this map. Remember, E3 E3B1 is dealing with that E1B1B. So you have some right there, East Africa, some in Egypt, some in Northern Africa. So now we go to this G. I know this is a C topic, but I just wanted to make a point about skin complexion stuff. There you go. You see the region. Real quick, I'm gonna do this. Sorry if it's making you dizzy, but I just wanna speed through some of this information real quick. So these are the so-called Caucasian people. I think this marker is dealing with Scandinavian, even though a lot of these people groups, like the real authentic Western Caucasian people are dealing with this R1B group. The other people are dealing with Eastern, mostly Eastern Europe. So so as you can see, this I group is really dealing with Eastern Europe versus Western Europe. So I'm sorry to get into that, but that's something that we had to get into with the men and women, how and why certain people look the way they do, you know. So let me get into other topics real quick. So I guess we could go to this chart. So um, a lot of this information that you see on this chart and on Wikipedia will also be on this page too, but it's not in detail. So when you want to go into detail about these regions, you can. You know, all I just do is look for uh, the region. I go YDNA of maybe China or Asia in general, and a lot of these Wikipedia searches come up. A lot of NIH stuff come up. A lot of other PDF with haplogroup information comes up, and I just read through the information, looking for these groups of people. You know, the markers and the defining mutations and stuff. So this is YDNA haplogroups and populations of East and Southeast Asia. So on this table, you have the population. So you have regions to ethnic groups to cities to islands and so on. So a lot of time when they do their surveys, the questionnaires, and those projects, a lot of this stuff is built into what they are looking for and how they're gonna break down the information for Wikipedia or other consumption. So yeah, the people groups or the demographics and stuff should be a long list. There we go. And then at the top, you have the haplogroups. And then on the other side, going down, you have other testing that dealing with again the surveys, because a lot of people been told something from their family or from their schools, and they're sticking with that information, and the survey is like, okay, well, we wanted to sample this grouping of people, another group of people that thought they was associated with the group was tested, and to find out they wasn't, a part of the group. They was somebody else. So this is how a lot of the others happen. So these are projects, sponsors, professors, scientists, you name it. A lot of these people are those people that do those research pages for NIH and all the other DNA articles and companies. I'm not talking about 23andMe, but I'm talking about the people that are in this realm of doing research paper for DNA information. So, and at the top, we have haplogroups. So real quick, I'm gonna run through the understanding of these groups letters. So the C group is dealing with Shemitic Moabite people once again. D group, Shemitic Ammonite people. F, Shemitic Elamite people. So this would be the people that were the original people of Iran who moved or migrated into India. This K group is dealing with Oceania people, aka uh, Japhetic people that originally used to live in the Greek islands. We have N, that's dealing with an in-between group of people that are associated with various parts of northern China and India and other regions in Siberia. O, all the O's are just dealing with a lot of people groupings throughout China, uh, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and the Philippines, various groups of pale complexion as well as dark complexion people. P is associated with SM. SM is associated with K. Um, Basically, these are like closely related groupings of people. Basal um, people that this information go, okay, well, this group is over here, that group. So to prevent so many multiple other branches and so on, they limited a lot of certain groupings of people. And when you go into this K, like in the Oceania chart that they have, it'll tell you that S and M, formerly known as K or vice versa. So this is very similar. P. And Q is an interesting group. Q is dealing with, let's go to this map. The people that a lot of people will associate as so-called Native American people in this day and age in the Americas would be that group. So real quick, again, let's go to this page. I'm gonna just save some time. I'm gonna scroll down to Q. So let me see if I'm at Q. This is R1B. So I got to scroll back up. So this is Q. Before Q is O. So this is O. So remember, these are O's. O. These are the Q's. Let's go back to this map. As you can see, Q and O. And we go down here. As you can see, so yes, you might have some questions. And here goes another point. So for people that don't know, um, so O, as you've seen, and as we see often in Asian media, is dealing with a lot of pale complexion people. You have Malagasy people and Nigeritos dealing with dark complexion people. So there you go. And same with this Q group. So back to this table. So all these people are interesting people. All like when I tell people, you know, on my other channels, you know, when people put in DNA information for me to help them get information on themselves, first of all, I thank them for disclosing private information. You know, a lot of this information should be private, if anything, but a lot of us tend to want to belong to a group of people, want to be associated with some type of identity and history, culture, whether if it's good or bad. And I tell people, you know, I'm like, in general, just be happy about this information and that journey that your ancestors took and been on, because you know I could say one thing for and pro my people understanding, but the other information and the other understanding is for other people, and for me to like glaze over that information and say, well, it's not that important. Yes, everybody DNA information is important, even if it's in a negative and or positive way. This information is very serious and important. So, other than that, this is the serious understanding that I have and that I tend to want to spread to other people about this information. And it's something that people want and need. So, without, you know, wasting any more time, eventually we'll come back to this chart, I'm very sure. But this, again, is dealing with seed information. So, what I like to do is like just go down the chart, seeing the highest percentages and numbers. So we are looking at the C group, and a lot of time these language bounces just add to the fuel. This fuel, the language bounces add to the fuel for the others. And those survey questions that most of the time we don't even get to see it in these Wikipedia or NIH research pages. Sometimes they'll tell the story and the region, and sometimes they just don't, you know. And you have to have that understanding that a lot of these people are dealing with um, other information that they are not going to disclose. So right here you have East Indonesia dealing with a high grouping of um, C group. And they have like a big sample pool. And then another interesting percentage dealing with this group of people Mongolia, somewhat tempted to, look into the um the information. So this is a Yahoo search engine, and due to the amount of time that I use Wikipedia and use these charts and stuff, they already highlighted the usage of nigeritos for me. This is a new app too, so a lot of these new apps in general, even if you go don't allow, I'm uninterested in certain things and features, uh, the built-in algorithm tends to already highlight certain things about previous searches. So, but yeah, nigeritos, and we go over, is like 50% of that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised, and you have good percentages of O. You have like a lot of other information missing. And that's about it. It's been a while since I've seen this chart, but yeah, the K group is dealing with Oceania and Solomon Island people. Um, the issue is this: that group of people, the Oceania, um, oh, here you go. There go S and M. So some of this stuff tends to get uh, confusing somewhat because this is something, this is the other so-called dark side, and um, once you get to a certain point of this information, and when you start to understand the reason why I label race the way I do and talk about Japhetic people the way I do, is because when you get to a certain point and you start to look at these ethnic groups and stuff, and pockets of the people and the physical traits and everything, and you go, okay, all these people are the same people, and they're not. And we know that because of the various movement that they are dealing with. So as you can see, this K and this O group and this C group. So again, this is why I say Japhetic people, and people go, well, they're mixing. It doesn't even matter if they're mixing, because if you look at the dynamics of a isolated region in a certain period of time, and you start to see certain um, traits being promoted versus a limited or lack of traits, and complexion types being created, you have to question how and why. So this is why I approach the information in a certain way and matter, period. So yeah, I still agree that a lot of the niggeritos, even though they say K, is dealing with O, just like the Malagasy, and same um, matter how they go. Well, these people are mixing with the Bantu. No, we are talking about once again certain pockets, certain language barriers, certain isolations, and they go, oh yeah, these people are just mixing to get that color. So in other words, R1B mixed with who exactly? Because there always been people in certain parts of Europe that always been dark complected people, period. That's why I talk about the K group. Even this H group, the imitation grouping of people that's supposed to be the stand-in for the F group, this H, this T, same thing. So that's why I tell people, these blank bounces are also dealing with the survey issues. Survey issues and conflict dealing with renaming a group after this information. But of course, they can't properly uh, constantly rename after so many hundreds or thousands of samples. They can't constantly rename a certain group. because it'll just get closer to the point that I'm making of how closely related certain groups of people are. And again, the thing is, we are talking about being relatives and related via race groups. We are not talking about the whole concept of the uh, proteins and the sequences. We are not talking about that. We're talking about these branches being closely related and how they tend to purposely start to do certain things with this information to extend a grouping of people out versus just saying it's it was formerly this and now we're gonna just bring it back into this group because these people are literally moving and living in the same pattern, migration space, and so on at the same time. You mean like twins, maybe like triplets? It's common sense stuff. But with that being said, I think I'm done with this C group slash Asia grouping of people. Um, and I think I need to go to the Wikipedia page before I close out this information. Here we go. So this is the Wikipedia page. And of course they say out of Africa, meaning out from the tectonic plate system of that region, dealing with the Saudi Arabia region. And this tree is bigger and than this, it has obviously more branches than this. And again, it just go into the various information. And as you can see what I mean, I'm not making this up. I don't make this up, This is stuff that, you know, oh well. I just know what I know versus what other people think they know versus what uh, these Wikipedia articles and things tend to do that I question, I'm like, well, I have questions. So this is just a foundation because when we get further, like when we get into that Japhetic grouping of people, you start to see certain, things that I warn you about. Once you get that built up understanding, is that okay? Maybe he's right about certain groups of people. And with that being looked at and seen, that's all, folks. As always, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section according to the community guidelines, and I shall reply with the comment or with a video. Until next time, thank you.